Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Delicious. Today is, say it with me, Friday, June 3rd, my friend's wedding weekend. For something that started as basically we're going to run to the justice of the peace, we've ended up making this into quite the party, and it's been awesome. It's been really super fun. I'm really glad that Charlie and Megan decided to do the party in a way that included all of us and lets us just do something purely fun. Hummingbird is busy. It's kind of a little breezy morning here in Santa Fe, but it's supposed to be really beautiful today. Just a little tumultuous as the sun comes up, but warm enough to be outside without sleeves. So, so yeah. Um, Yesterday was a good day. I felt like I was behind all day. Uh, had went to writer breakfast, coffee, brunch, and that was fun. Um, but still, it just sets my morning back, and I have to try to be let go of that because I do feel like the social interaction with friends is important, right? And then I went to Trader Joe's and bought the flowers for the wedding. And I think I told the story on here before that I was like, I want to do the flowers for the wedding. It worked out great going to Trader Joe's. It turned out that they were turning over their flowers on Thursday morning. My mom commented that her Trader Joe's doesn't seem to have as big a flower section. Ours is quite extensive. And I was there, it's right by the front doors. And I was there um, filling my cart. And it was really funny because this was one of the best parts because very often going to Trader Joe's is not a happy experience as far as the other people are concerned. It's a happy experience for buying what we want to get and for the prices in general, but people tend to be really stressed there, like and I don't know why. The parking lot tends to be like a rage fest. I don't know why. So this was pure joy. Um, People were just commenting one person after another, and people were like, oh, look how beautiful the flowers are, and then they'd be like, and look at you with this cart full of flowers. And I said, yes, my friend is getting married this weekend. And they're like, that's such a good idea to do it this way. And it was just seeing how happy it made people. It made me think of the movie Bed of Roses, which I love this movie, where he talks about Christian Slater talks about after his wife died why he goes into the floral business because, and I'm gonna have to paraphrase, but he has this wonderful thing where he talks about that there's something about delivering flowers to people, that it's at like the best moments in their lives or the worst moments, but either way their faces when they take the flowers. And he takes her, who is a very wounded person, along with him, and she gets to experience that same delight. And I could see it yesterday in people's faces when they looked. There was this one older lady who said, can I get to those? And I said, oh yes, pulling my laden cart out of the way. And I'm like, just yell at me if I'm in your way. And she goes, ah. It was funny. um, and even in the parking lot, I had my cart out there, and I'll throw the photo on the show notes. laden with all of these colorful flowers. And this lady and her daughter pull up. They're passing behind, like in the lane, and she stops and they have the windows rolled down, and she goes, "Those flowers are so beautiful." And I said for the umpteenth time, "My friend is getting married this weekend," and she's like, "Oh, that's so wonderful." And so then I snapped pictures of the cart and texted Megan and said, "Do you want to see the flowers or do you want to be surprised?" And she didn't reply right away because she was at work. And as I'm driving home, I get the text from her and it's saying, "I want to see." And then she adds, "I hope I didn't miss my window by not responding right away." And I was like, "No, of course I took the pictures anyway," and sent them to her. And she said, "It's just so much joy." And it is, a joyful thing, getting married. Second wedding for both of them. And yeah, that's really cool. So, yeah, so then I brought them home and realized I had a little bit of a problem. I'd been thinking about it, like, where am I going to put them? And then I had a stroke of genius and put them in the washing machine. I tried doing like the pre soak thing, but it wouldn't fill. I think I had to have stuff in there already. So then I just filled the bucket that David uses to refill the fish tank, did a couple of runs of that, and filled up the washing machine, and it held. I'm curious to see. I'm going to look this morning and see if the water's still standing in it. I think it'll hold until I drain it. So I just had all of the bouquets in there and then some in the bucket. And I thought maybe I'd gone overboard in acquiring the armloads of flowers. And it was funny because I'd had a specific budget in mind, but I didn't count as I was loading up the flowers. I kind of just went with proportions of, oh, I want these, I want these, I want these. And then I had to grab a couple of grocery things too. So I did that and I came out like $10 over budget. And I thought, wow, that was amazing. So then I had to get to actual work and work on the book. And I ended up adding like 2,700 words yesterday and made it almost all the way through the second epilogue. Two epilogues to go, you people. Ugh, oh well. It is what it is. So we'll see how far I get today. I would love it if I could get the last two epilogues today. Maybe they'll be shorter. The second one was longer, is what it is. And I still have to add the last few lines because I wasn't. By the time I finished yesterday, it was like almost three. Finished my 3 hours, and I went longer. I went like 15 minutes longer. Dorinda signed off, and I said, "I'm going to stick with it and see if I can get these last few sentences." And it ended up being more than a few sentences. And then I wasn't sure if it was right. I wasn't quite hearing the words, so I stopped. So I'll see how it looks this morning. And so then I did not go to in-person yoga because it was too tight of a turnaround, and I thought I need to deal with these flowers, and I really wanted to get them all arranged and into vases so that, and I'd gotten out. I borrowed some from Megan, just like four, and then it turns out, you guys, I have a lot of vases. So I had all my vases lined out, and I thought, well, if I end up with not enough vases, at least doing this tonight, I can return any of the ones I don't use to water and then go run to Michael's or something tomorrow and the get some more bases, or Tuesday morning. So I spread out. I put a sheet on the rug. Well, David and I ate dinner first, but that's we don't you don't need the blow by blow, even though I'm giving it to you. And we did ended up eating a fairly early dinner, and then I spread the sheet out on the carpet in the living room, and I just started and I got out a big garbage bag, right? Because they're all wrapped in cellophane. So, took off the cellophane, took off the elastic, and laid them out in bunches by type of flower and color. And then I started doing the arranging. And I had one really big vase that I had to like solve an engineering problem for, because the flowers looked too short in them, like even the really tall lilies like barely stuck over the top of it. But I solved my engineering problem and I felt very clever for that as well, and got my other bouquets all arranged, and it ended up coming out just fine. So yeah, they're beautiful. Beautiful. I'm very happy with them. So this afternoon, I need to text the homeowners of where the wedding's going to take place and see when I can drop those off. But I'm going to try to go take those flowers this afternoon, and a couple other little tasks, little errands, and then yeah, and then party at their house tonight. And I got out of all of my SIFWA meetings for tomorrow, so I can go hang out at the pool with people, and I may end up working on this book more first thing in the morning. Yeah, because I would really love to dive into revising on Monday. I haven't revised those final pages yet. So, yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I ended up I put a lot of it on Instagram stories. I made a reel. I need to like make a story too, but I kind of did some of that this morning, and I also slept long because I think I stayed up a little late. So I'm running a bit behind, but I'm on top of things. I feel like I've got plenty of time to work on the book today and do the other things for the wedding and just have a really fun party weekend. Yeah, so I don't know. Do I have anything else to say? Uh, at Writer Coffee yesterday, they were telling me an interesting story because I was saying that on this book that my concern is that I've not stuck the ending the way that I want to. And Jim Sorensen was talking about, because he's like involved in Transformers and GI Joe, and so he ends up going to different conferences than I do. But so I can't remember the writer, but it's like one of the ones I think who did Incredible Hulk, and he said he was talking about how at the end of one of them, that's sorry about this, where I won't get my specifics. Jim could tell you, but anyway, I guess Bruce. I remember it was Incredible Hulk. Bruce Banner that he's goes running after the train at the end. She gets on the train and then he goes running after the train and trying to stop her, but the train pulls away, and all dejected he turns around and goes back, and she's standing there on the train platform, and they embrace and it's all good. And he says that audiences love this ending. Love, love, love this ending. It's like the huge emotional punch reward ending. And it's like one of the best received endings he's ever done. And he hates it. He hates this ending because he says it actually makes no plot sense whatsoever. And he wrestled with this ending because he's like, if she'd already gotten on the train, how did she know to get back off the train again? And how did she get off the train when the train's already been moving, that she's back on the platform? None of this matters to the audience because the audiences love the emotional reward of the ending. And so that was what Jim was saying to me is like, you're doing these epilogues and you're doing this big emotional reward for the ending. He said, nobody's going to mind whether or not your ending of like the resolution of the plot actually makes any sense. So yeah, I thought that was probably what I needed to hear. I know that from inside the writer brain that we can belabor things quite a bit more than the readers will, and then readers end up belaboring things that make no sense to us. What they focus on. So yeah, it's a good exercise in Zen. And I do agree. This is one thing that I have learned um, over the course of writing books and seeing which ones work is that once I got really good at really good. I feel vain saying that, but I feel like I've gotten much better at it anyway. Of delivering that emotionally satisfying ending, that it makes all the difference because it's what you leave the reader with in the end. It's that feeling that they close the book with. So yeah, it's really the opposite of the cliffhanger ending, right? Because the cliffhanger ending isn't actual ending. It's a moving straight into the next story. Yeah. So it's useful to think in those terms. And of course you can't please everyone all the time. I saw a review of one of my books yesterday where somebody said that they wished that there had been more resolution at the end, or that I had tied up more of the events. And it's like, I couldn't. There was too much. I'm sorry you wish that. um, if wishes were horses, sometimes sometimes you've got to decide where you're going to stop the book. I could have stopped it earlier. That's one way or the other. But when you're writing a series that's in a continuous arc, it's not always possible to tie up that full. You can put in that scene with that emotional resolution, but sometimes it's not enough for everybody if not all the questions are tied up. So, but this is tying up the four-book series, and in some ways the whole series, right? And that's why it's been fun to touch back to that original 12 Kingdoms trilogy in these scenes, kind of bridging the generations. I'm really enjoying that. Yeah. So, I mentioned, and quite a few of you replied back to me with aghast faces, that this might be the end of the 12 Kingdoms and Uncharted Realms world. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Right now, I don't have clear ideas of what I would write next. It could be that I'll write like little novellas here and there. It could be that I'll get some idea that will connect it. Um, I remember one reviewer, it was really funny in reviewing the Forgotten Empires trilogy, said it was set in the same world as 12 Kingdoms and Uncharted Realms. And I was like, no, not even close. In fact, I went to some effort to make them distinct worlds. But for those of you who have been reading along with Heirs of Magic, uh, you will there's the altar realms, and so there's this thing that like maybe the world can connect. I don't know. We'll see. um yeah. So all right, I'm gonna go get to work, see if I can get this uploaded in time to concentrate on these epilogues. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope that it is joyful in any way that you can make it joyful. And I will talk to you all on Monday. You all take care. Bye bye.